po sa ating unang panauhin, makakasama po natin si Attorney Martin Delgra III, ang chairperson po ng Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board upang makibalita sa kanilang mga inisyatibo at siyempre programa po sa sektor ng transportasyon. Magandang umaga po, Chair Delgra.
Magandang umaga din po sa inyo, Yusek Rocky at Aljo. Mayong bugat at good morning sa lahat po.
Attorney, nitong Lunes po, nagsimula na pong bumiyahe yung 1,159 traditional PUJ units sa may 28 ruta sa Metro Manila. So, kumusta po yung monitoring natin kung sumusunod po ba ang ating mga driver sa health at distancing protocols?
Tama po kayo, Yusek. Meron po tayong pinalabas na dagdag na mga PUJ, traditional PUJ noong Lunes at tuloy-tuloy naman din po yung paglalabas natin at pagdi-deploy ng mga additional units po hindi lang po sa PUJ, kung hindi po sa all modes of public transport kung saan ay yung mga pampublikong sasakyan na nagbabiyahe at kumukuha ng pasahero. So ibig sabihin po kasama na rin po dito yung modern jeepney, yung buses, UV, taxi, TNVS, even the P2P buses. So tuloy-tuloy naman din po yung monitoring natin at tuloy-tuloy din po yung paalala natin na susundin lang natin yung ating mga public health protocols na itinalaga na at pabalik-balik nating pinapaalala sa kanila. Hindi driver at operator, pati na pasahero. No? Yung pagsusuot ng face mask, at yung pagsusuot ng face shield at kung pwede no talking at no eating inside public transport, no? So that would also prevent transmission of the virus. Pati yung constant and frequent disinfection ng mga public utility vehicles, pinapaalala po natin ito sa ating mga driver, operator, bus operators po before and even after they would deploy their units. So yung mga symptomatic na mga pasahero, kung pwede, wag na kayong sumakay ng mga public transport para iwas po tayo sa sakit. Pati na rin po yung tinatawag corporate physical distancing po sa loob ng lahat ng pampublikong sasakyan. Yun po ang ginagawa natin patuloy pong ginagawa natin dito sa hanay ng public transport.
Opo. Attorney, kasabay po nung pagpapaluwag ng distancing protocols nitong mga nakaraang araw din po ay inanunsyo nyo na hindi naman po mandatory yung paglalagay ng plastic barrier sa loob ng jeep dahil hindi naman ito kasama sa guidelines na inilabas ninyo ng DOTR at maging po ng IATF ang paglalagay nga ng plastic barriers. Paki-expound po dito, Attorney.
Tungkol po sa plastic barrier, tukoy natin yung nilalagay nila sa likod, plastic barrier, yung mga between passengers. Sa patakaran o alituntunin na inilabas po ng LTFRB at DOTR. Yan po nangyari po siguro nung may suspension of public transport way back in May na ECQ halos sa karamihang area ng bansa. So there was some putting a plastic barrier between passengers. And it turned out that there were some benefits to it. And in fact, some LGUs in fact endorsed it as well, no? For those public utility vehicles that were running in the respective jurisdiction. Pero as I've said, hindi po officially endorsed yan insofar as LTFRB and DOTR is concerned. Ang plastic barrier po na inilabas natin as a policy is actually yung plastic transparent barrier between the driver and the passenger, no? To protect the driver from the passenger and vice versa also, to protect the passengers from the driver. So yun lang po lang paglilinaw natin dito, na kung nakakatulong ituloy pero hindi po natin minamandatos po.
Opo. Tanong kasi may related din po ito dun sa tanong na ating kasamang si Laila Salaveria ng Inquirer. Ang tanong po niya kasi, ano na daw po yung feedback sa bagong physical distancing rule na 0.75 meters instead of 1 meter? Nahihirapan pa daw po itong i-implement.
Insofar as LTFRB and the OTR is concerned, and in fact, for LTFRB, nagpalabas na po tayo ng memorandum circular para guidance at direktiba sa lahat ng pampublikong sasakyan to reduce the social distancing requirement from 1.75 centimeters. Ito po ay para sa dalawang rason, no? Among other reasons. Unang-una, as mentioned by the DOTR Secretary Togade, at naaprubahan na rin po ito sa IATF, na kung saan we need to increase without having to compromise public health, by the way, if I may emphasize it, na to increase the capacity of our public transport. No? Pabalik-balik sinasabi na may kakulangan sa public transport, and the way to do that is to calibrate the reduction in the social distancing requirement as without compromising public health. And meron na po tayong mga study kung saan with reduced social distancing requirement, may dagdag po sa kapasidad ng ating mga public transport. Sa tren, meron na pong pag-aaral. Sa bus, meron din po, if I may. Depende po sa seating configuration ng mga buses. Kung saan, for example, meron po yung sa isang gilid, tatluhan, yung seats, at saka yung sa kabila, dalawahan po. Pwede na po maupuan yung nasa gitna, yung tinatawag na aisle seat ng mga buses. Pero yung po yung mga dalawahan sa gilid, wala masyadong dagdag na pasahero dyan, no? Kasi wala naman din talaga, we cannot maintain the 0.75 centimeters significantly doon sa buses where you have 2x2. Nakikita po natin dito na meron pong increase, no? From as low as 1.2, 1 to 2 persons. For example, sa PUJ, it could also increase to about 3 for modern jeepney, to as many as about 8 or 9 for buses. As I've said, depending again on the seating configuration. So, yun po ang sinasabi natin dito na may kapasidad na po. Pangalawa is that would also increase yung tinatawag natin sa English na financial viability on the part of the operator to run their service. Kasi with the reduced capacity, nag-aalanganin yung mga ilan natin mga tsuper at mga operator na lalabas at tatakbo at babiyahe dahil nga yung reduced capacity might compromise their viability to run the routes, no? But as I've said kanina, now when we talk about the social distancing requirement, again without compromising public health, is a combination, is just one of a combination of measures that we need to address, no? I say it again, ito po yung combination of wearing of face mask and face shield, no? Yung hindi pag-uusap sa loob ng pampublikong sasakyan, yung mga asymptomatic na mga pasahero, kung pwede hindi sasakay, no? So yun po yung mga tinitingnan natin dito na kailangan masusunod sa loob ng isang pampublikong sasakyan.
Opo. Bukod po sa sektor ng kalusugan at turismo, bahagi ng pondo po ng Bayanihan to Recover as One Act 2 ay mapupunta sa ating sektor po ng transportasyon na tinatayang nasa 9.5 billion pesos. So ano-ano po yung mga karagdagang proyekto na inyong ipagkakaloob, lalo na po dun sa mga displaced transport workers?
Yung sinasabi niyo pong pondo na nailaan sa DOTR in particular, and some of that will be downloaded to the LTFRB as the implementing agency po. Ito po yung more than 9 billion po. Meron po tayong tinatawag na 2.6 billion allocation for what we call critically impacted industries in the transport sector. Meron din po tayong nailaan na pondo na 5.8 5.58 billion para dun sa tinatawag na service contracting program. So maiba lang po, these are two separate programs, although both allocations, budget allocations are for the transport sector. Having said that, iba-iba po yung beneficiaryo nito. So insofar as the 2.6 billion is concerned, ito po yung mga ang naipaplano po rito para doon sa mga chuper at mga operator, lalong-lalo na hindi po nakapagbiyahe during the time of the pandemic, for which they will be given either a cash subsidy or a fuel subsidy, whichever may be the case. No? For the 5.58 billion pesos, that will be implemented under what we call the service contracting program po, which LTFRB will be the lead implementing agency.
Opo. Attorney, madadagdagan po ba daw yung PUV driver na mapagkakalooban ng ayuda sa ilalim naman ng Social Amelioration Program pagkatapos po maipasa itong Bayanihan 2, at kung mabibigyan po, ano daw po yung proseso para maiwasan naman yung duplication sa makakatanggap ng SAP?
Magandang tanong po yan, Yusek. Kasi po, pati yung LTFRB tinatanong dyan, but we just like to put that in the context of how that the social amelioration program for PUV drivers are being implemented. Yung main implementing agency po nito ay yung DSWD. At yung LTFRB at DOTR tumutulong doon sa DSWD sa pagkukuha at pagsasubmit ng listahan ng mga PUV drivers sa DSWD. Ang ginagawa din po ng DSWD, alam natin na under the Social Amelioration Program, meron pong mga listahan ng mga SAP beneficiaries niyan. Iisa lang doon yung PUV drivers. Ang ginagawa po ng DSWD, when we submitted the list to them, they would what they call cross-match it with the other lists para po hindi po yung tinatawag sa English na they're trying to avoid duplication, na hindi magdodoble yung listahan, na which might result to dodoble yung pagbibigay ng ayuda sa isang pamilya. As explained to us by DSWD, meron po mga iba't ibang mga beneficiaryo na nasa listahan nila, no? Like yung sa 4Ps, yung conditional cash transfer, which in their list are in the millions of beneficiaries. Yung pong binigay natin na listahan, maabot na mga about 400,000, binangga po nila yan doon sa listahan na nasa kanila na, pati na rin po yung sa mga listahan na i-submit na mga LGUs. Kasi yung LGUs din, kumukuha ng listahan doon sa mga sub-beneficiaries. Once this list related with DSWD, binabangga po nila yan. Now, as of the latest po, what we learned DSWD is meron na lang po mga 209,000 na mga PUV drivers which would benefit under this sub-program for the PUV drivers. In line with this, we have worked closely with the SWD on the regional level para mapabilis po natin yung pagbibigay ng ayuda under the SAP. Rocky, yun po yung ginagawa natin sa kasalukuyan.
Opo, Chairperson Delgra, puntahan po natin yung katanungan ng mga kasama natin sa media. Unahin ko po yung tanong ni Joanne Nano of UNTV. Ano na po ang development sa biyahe ng provincial buses sa coming from Metro Manila na papasok sa mga probinsya? Ngayong nadagdagan na po ng capacity sa public transport by reducing physical distancing, papayagan na rin po ba ang provincial buses?
I'm sorry po, mukhang Yusek, napuputol po yung tanong nyo, pero
Sige,
can you hear me?
ulitin ko po. Yes, opo, nahirinig ko kayo. Attorney, ulitin ko na lang po yung tanong. Mula po kay Joanne Nano ng UNTV. Ano na daw po yung development sa biyahe ng provincial buses coming from Metro Manila na papasok po sa mga probinsya? Ngayon daw pong
Opo.
nagdadagdag na ng capacity sa public transport by reducing physical distancing, kung papayagan na rin po ba daw ang provincial buses?
Opo. Okay. I got the question now. Salamat po. Insofar as the provincial bus routes are concerned, especially originating or ending in Metro Manila is concerned, matagal na po natin itong pinag-uusapan internally with LTFRB and with the OTR in the expectation na makakabiyahe na nga or ma-open na natin yung mga rota, no, coming from Metro Manila to the provinces. Among the preparations that we have made, nag-usap na po mga ilang beses na yung dialogue at pag-uusap namin sa mga yung tinatawag nating integrated terminal exchanges, yung mga operators ng mga integrated terminals, na lalahok dito sa pagbabiyahe, pagbubukas ng provincial bus routes, no? Ito po yung 5 major terminals, no? Sa PTEC, sa North Luzon Express Terminal, Valenzuela, the one in Cubao, and also in Santa Rosa. So, pinaghandaan na rin po nila yan, ano? Yung pagbubukas ng provincial bus routes. We also have talked to the League of Governors and Mayors because alam nyo po, yung public transport o yung pagbabiyahe po natin, yung pagta-transport ng ating mga pasahero from Metro Manila papunta doon sa mga probinsya, kailangan we need to coordinate with the LGUs concerned kasi sila rin yung sasalo ng mga pasahero. So since this is we are in the context of the pandemic, naghahanda rin yung mga LGUs kung paano nila i-handle yung mga pasahero na aalis sa kanilang lugar o dadating sa kanilang. During our last consultations po sa League of locally elected officials, no, with the Board of Governors, marami po sa kanila ang ayaw pa na magbukas ng border, lalong-lalo na doon sa rota na manggagaling sa Metro Manila. So that is really our main concern. We already have pinaabot na po natin itong concern na ito doon sa IATF at naghihintay na po tayo ng ang tawag nito, ng paghahanda, yung paghahanda po na okay na po. Maliit lang po, no? As of the latest, out of 81 provinces, nakuha lang po namin na response among the provinces who would be willing to open their borders to admit passengers from Metro Manila. 4 lang po. So because of that, we will have to prepare nevertheless to open provincial bus routes on a limited capacity. We would like to understand it in 1, 2 or 3 things. Unang-una, yung pagbubukas po ng rota, hindi lang po yung pagbubukas ng rota ang iintindi natin, kundi yung pagbabiyahe ng pasahero and how we manage passengers. And that is what we want to emphasize. How we're going to manage passengers from the point of origin to the point of destination. No? Hindi lang po yung kung saan babiyahe at saan pupunta at saan din po dadaan. Kaya nga po yung sinasabi ng mga ng league, kung papayagan man na bubukas yung isang probinsya, sabihin natin somewhere in Northern Luzon, hindi na po, at yung mga probinsya na dadaanan hindi papayag, hindi rin po pwede na meron din yung tinatawag na bus stops along the way, no? So they are suggesting na parang point to point na rin po yung the usual travel requirement that is required for airline and maritime passengers may also be required sa land-based public transport. But even on that score, we are still trying to review that because there might be certain requirements that might be a bit, if I may say, burdensome on the part of the road-based public transport. For example, yung requirement ng ang tawag nito, tests, no? Babiyahe ka yung pamasahe mo would probably be about 200 or 500, but you have to undergo testing, which will probably cost you more than 1,000. So sometimes, yun po, we're still trying to review on how we're going to address that. But whatever be the case, we need to closely coordinate with the LGU concerned. Because at the end of this trip, at the end of every trip, it is the LGU who will receive the passengers, who will manage the passengers at in their respective jurisdiction. So yun po yung ugnayan na ginagawa namin. Hopefully, we are looking at the timeline na within the month, we'll be opening the provincial bus routes po, coming from Metro Manila or ending in Metro Manila. Having said that, meron na po tayong, nagbubukas na po yung ibang mga region at ibang mga probinsya. Like for example, in Northern Luzon, meron na po tayong tinatawag na interprovincial routes within Region 1, even in the Cordillera region, as well as in Region 2. Din po, sir, meron din tayong tinatawag na interprovincial routes within the region. Ganon din po sa Visayas at saka sa Mindanao. Meron din po yung tinatawag nating interprovincial routes kung saan meron po nagbabiyahe na from one region to another. Ganun din, like for example, in Mindanao, meron pong mga biyahe na binuksan from Butuan in Caraga to Davao City in Region 11, or from Cagayan de Oro in Region 10 to Caraga in Butuan City. But then again, I would like to caution you na hindi po ito binuksan ng biglaan at maramihan. Again, as I've said, the number of trips are limited, the number of passengers are being managed from the origin to destination. So, nagbubukas na po tayo, if I may say that, ng mga interprovincial at interregional routes, except the one here in Metro Manila, which we are already ready to open. Inaayos lang po natin, and hopefully we'll be able to open it within the month.
Po, Attorney, may pahabol lang pong tanong si Laila Laila Salaveria na Inquirer, bago po ako pumunta sa tanong ni Joseph Morong. Ano daw po yung pwede po ba daw malaman yung 4 na provinces na pumayag sa bus routes?
Opo, if I may recall, malala ko yung Antique, Quirino, at saka Bataan. I'm sorry, I forgot the last province po.
Opo. Mula po kay Joseph Morong ng GMA, ano na daw po yung final decision ng IATF on physical distancing, and how is this going to be implemented?
Insofar as LTFRB is concerned, sumusunod po tayo sa polisiya ng DOTR, at as of the latest, yung DOTR din sumusunod doon sa polisiya ng IATF, pagdating doon sa social distancing requirement. Kung saan, as I made mention earlier, since pinayagan na po yung pagbaba from 1 meter to 0.75, yun po ang sinusunod natin sa ngayon until such time that the IATF will review and will address that issue again. So yun po ang current policy that we are implementing at the moment.
Opo. Ang second pong tanong ni Joseph Morong ay, which is a better solution to providing more transportation for workers? A, reduce physical distancing, and B, increase number of PUVs on the road?
It's a combination of all those, insofar as having to address increased capacity of public transport. But there is something unique, as I've said earlier, I'd like to emphasize again, there's something unique about having to reduce the social distancing requirement, again, without compromising public health, and which is to increase the financial viability of those operators running the service. Sa ngayon po, alam natin na nagbubukas tayo ng maraming mga ruta, and we allow buses and PUJs, UV Express, but most likely hindi po lahat ito nagbabiyahe dahil po doon sa kakulangan, the expectation na kukulangin sila doon sa kanilang revenue, and therefore it would actually touch base on the issue of viability. And On the issue of viability po, it's good to note na under the Bayanihan 2, meron pong nailaan na pondo for service contracting program.
Okay. Maraming salamat po sa inyong panahon, Attorney Martin Delgra III, ang chairperson ng LTFRB. Keep safe po, Attorney.
Kayo din po at salamat din po sa pagkakataon. At magandang umaga sa lahat.